Okay, let's see if it works today. It is the way home. I've actually stopped off at Mum's place to grab some mail that was there, lots of speeding fines, which is fantastic. But it got me thinking about life. Now, I've been quite depressed all day. Some reason on Saturday got hit by the depression stick and still recovering. And today was no different, was feeling pretty shit. Wasn't going to do an episode of The Commute. Hello, commuters. I am doing an episode of The Commute. And it got me thinking, I put out a tweet about how all of a sudden in my head when I was looking at these speeding fines, I thought of them literally as monopoly money. Now I've become, not obsessed, but I've been reminded of how much I enjoy playing Monopoly on my tablet, iPad, recently, and have just become obsessed playing Monopoly. Game after game after game. Just really enjoy playing Monopoly for some reason. And it's the same thing every time. It's just the luck of where I land and where the other people land as to whether you win or not, because you're all doing the same kind of thing, and the harder you go, the harder it is to make deals and what have you. But I was thinking of this life we live as Monopoly, in that the speeding fines came in, and they're a bit old now. They're from when I first got the ute and was driving and just wasn't aware of where the speed cameras were and stuff. And it's absolute, I am absolutely on board with how absolutely ridiculous it is. 107 I was doing in a 100 zone on a freeway. Who knows if there was any other cars around me, or whether I was under control, or whether my foot just happened to push a little bit harder. Like, it's absolutely ridiculous. 7 kilometers at that speed on a freeway just makes so little difference. And don't even get me into the whole American style freedom slash behavior manipulation of the whole thing. Because it got me really pissed off not that long ago about how much behavior manipulation happens with things like fines. They're changing the way we act and the way we behave. And I'm all for stopping people from driving recklessly, but I guarantee I wasn't driving recklessly when I was doing 107. And now I've got to pay a ridiculous amount of money for that. And so it got me thinking about Monopoly and the way it really is, like Matthew McConaughey says in The Wolf of Wall Street, it's just fairy dust. And I'll just adjust the camera again. It's all fairy dust. It's all flitty-flatty bullshit. Money is nothing. It's sort of a representation of my time and effort, but if you compare my previous job to the one I've currently got, money just doesn't make any sense, because the work I do at this job and how much they pay me for is a heap less physically demanding than my previous job, of which they paid me more than or less than half of what I earn now. And the only thing that's different, in my opinion, is that my current employer isn't a dickhead like my previous ones were. Admittedly, I was doing an apprenticeship and blah, 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 but it just got me thinking that all this money that we worry about, it's ridiculous. And I was listening, here's something that you'll probably find funny. I was listening to The 4-Hour Workweek by Tim Ferriss. And even though I don't agree with everything that he's doing and it doesn't quite fit with what I want to do with my life, there are certain aspects that I definitely need to get into my head. Certain aspects of that. I remember back in the day there was an ad on TV or something where it was like, make your money work for you, that kind of stuff. What's your money doing? that kind of stuff. And I never got taught any of that kind of stuff at school or from my parents or anything like that. So I am still trying to, that doesn't work. I'm still trying to learn all that kind of stuff and get my head around it, and stop spending all day and all that kind of stuff. And so I was, as I said, I was quite depressed over the weekend. My voice changes, my body language changes. I was really a shell of myself. And looking at this fine, or this reminder of a fine, all of a sudden something just popped in my head. And even though I get quite bad anxiety when I have to make phone calls to people I don't know, hence why I think I've ever once called a girl on the phone to try and ask her out. Maybe twice. If it wasn't for text messaging and Facebook and stuff, I'd never have the chance. Like even when Jamie and I were first going out with each other and talking to each other and stuff, I would have had great anxiety calling her. Luckily, because we're in different states, it was always just easier to text and stuff, and that's how we were able to get to know each other and stuff. But I would have had great anxiety just trying to call her. It would have been terrible. So when I came out of Mum's place with this fine bill thing in my hand, I looked at I got the phone out and I just made the call. I didn't think about it, I just did it. I was like, right, I'm gonna get this sorted. I know that I just have to suck it up. I can't afford to pay it all straight away. I'm gonna have to set up a payment plan. But it's monopoly money. I've had this theory for quite a while that this life is a game. It's just a big game. And you find out the rules as you go along. There's no rule book, unfortunately. You find out the rules. The rules sometimes change. For instance, certain drug laws are a good example. Some road rules change, that kind of stuff. So things change. And the goal or the point of the game is up to you. So you get to decide the point of all this, and you get to decide how many of the rules, because you can cheat on some of the rules, just like in Monopoly. If you're the banker, you can slide yourself another $100 or so. You can wheel and deal, you can make deals with people. It really is just a game of Monopoly. You go around the board and you get back to the thing and you get your salary. Like Game of Life. It's exactly like Game of Life. Probably should be using Game of Life as a better metaphor than Monopoly. But Monopoly's the one that I enjoy playing at the moment. I even won on the hard setting. God, I'm good. So yeah, this is a game. It is an absolute game, and for some reason this weight almost has been lifted from my shoulders, because I was looking at this fine and I just thought it's a game. These numbers don't mean anything. I get my numbers every fortnight. I get paid. I divvy them up between the different places that I want to go. Buy a property, put a house here, maybe one day. And you get by. You try and do things that create endorphins. Sorry, a thing came up on my screen just then and I stopped. So yeah, you try and do some stuff that creates endorphins. You go for a run, you play a sport, you achieve something, you do something creative. You make a podcast video thing. It's just a game. It's just a game. That's the Commute number, I think that's number 16. Apparently Brian doesn't get his viewership tracked, so there is somebody else watching every episode. To you, I say thank you. And the commute has come to an end. BobbyFreakout@gmail.com. Thank you. Bye-bye.